Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast. We're coming to you live from Cole Creative in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the founder and editor of NEPA Scene.
And I am Brittany Boote, and I'm the owner of Boote Photography Studio.
I'm John Popko. I work for Time Shamrock Communications and Radio for Rock 107, ESPN Radio, and Alt 92.1.
And
Oh yeah.
add this to your list of credentials.
I am the Saturday night host of Alt Natives on Alt 92.1 at 9 o'clock, where we feature local artists for an hour.
So if you are in a local band and you want your music featured, be sure to email this guy.
Yeah, altnatives at alt921.com.
Cool. So tonight we're here to talk about The Bear, which is a new crime drama television series that's set and produced in Wilkes-Barre. The premiere episode will be tomorrow at the River Street Jazz Cafe at 8 p.m. Some of the cast and crew will be in attendance at the screening, which is $8 at the door. There's an after party with DJ Evil B, which will run from 9 to 11 right after the episode premieres. So this has been an ongoing story for the past 2 years at this point. The teaser premiered 2 years ago. The trailer premiered about a year ago, and now we're finally at the first episode. These things do take a while, and we don't know what the future holds for this television show. But Brittany was on the show as an actress and also as the assistant director. So we were going to have another actor who was local to the area, James Callahan, who played Bryan on the show and is well known in the local music scene for a lot of stuff he's done over the years. But unfortunately, he had to cancel on us a couple hours before. He had a last-minute family emergency, so we wish him the best with that. But we're still going to talk to Brittany about her experience and what she knows about the show, and hopefully something that we'll get to see soon in the next few months or year or so. Tonight, we're also giving away tickets to the I Love the 90s tour, which you might have seen on our Facebook page. It's coming to the Pavilion at Montage Mountain this Saturday, August 26th. Has TLC, Coolio, Tone Loc, Rob Bass, and Young MC. So if you stay tuned to the podcast, we're going to give those away in a little bit. All you have to do is leave a question or comment or something underneath there just to let us know that you're interested and you want to go tonight or this Saturday. And we'll be giving away those tickets by the end of the show. So you have to stay tuned for a little bit and listen to us chat, talk about the show, talk about beers, things like that. And then we'll get to that ticket giveaway in a bit. So should we start with the beers? These are from Beer Boys, our sponsor. They are based in Wilkes-Barre, and they have 72 beers on tap, including 30 from Pennsylvania breweries, so they support local, just like we do. Tonight, going on right now, to the end of the night, they're going to have a Founders Brewing Company tap takeover, which we did talk about last week. We featured some of the beers that they had on there last week. We tried... which ones did we try? It was Green Zebra, All Day IPA, and Sumatra Mountain. I thought the Green Zebra was really good. The All Day IPA was great.
I loved
too.
all of them.
They were all great. I mean, Founders in general, I think, is well known for the breakfast stout and things that they do. But there's a lot of other things that I've never tried before. So this is a cool opportunity for us too, because we've never tried a lot of these. So tonight we're going to try Backwoods Bastard, Lizard of Cause, and Frootwood.
This is the Frootwood.
These are all really high ABV beers. They're like 10s and 11s. So we're probably we're going to get a little tipsy as the night goes on, I think.
Harass us if you want to. That's fine.
Yeah, that's right. In the meantime, let me tell you a little bit about the tap takeover.
You're going full wax. She's like,
you're
guys.
Just filling it right up.
This is all mine.
Well, actually, there's only 3 of us tonight, so I guess we could all kind of
that's true.
have
we can
a full glass, right?
We
we
don't
prefer.
have to share with anybody.
But I figured I'd go in shifts just to make sure.
Yeah.
So we have they have Sumatra Mountain, Backwoods Bastard, aged from 2015, Green Zebra, Lizard of Cause, Frootwood, All Day IPA, And then on deck, they'll also have Ridiculous, Doom, and DKML if those run out. Flights and Pints are available with free Founders glassware. They'll also have
Me neither.
$11 all-day IPA buckets, KBS 2017 in 25-ounce bottles, and Lizard of Cause in 25-ounce bottles. So this is Frootwood. Let's give this one a go.
Whoa.
Yeah, right?
It tastes
A lot of
strong.
flavor.
Yeah.
It tastes good though.
It's really good.
I feel like it's one of those beers that after the first sips can be real intense, and then you get real into it.
Right. It's very crisp, and it's got that cherry
Yeah.
flavor right up front. This was aged in oak barrels, and you can kind of taste a little bit of the woody sense to it, and it's definitely got some heat.
Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting is it also has maple syrup in it as
Wow.
well. So that, I think,
You wouldn't
is where the
think-
sweetness comes in.
This is probably
Yeah.
like a lower ABV compared to
What
the
is the
other three.
ABV?
This is 8.
So high.
It's very high, but it's not. I think those are higher.
Yeah, the other one, Lizard of Cause is a 10.5, and Backwoods Bastard is 11.2.
Woo!
Johnny and I skipped dinner, so stay tuned.
Great. Just what we need.
I have not had this one yet. I'm gonna check it in on my Untapped.
Yeah.
And we were there 2 weeks ago.
Hmm.
And when you check in your beers on Untapped at Beer Boys, your little photo scrolls on the bottom of one of their TV menus, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah,
Just
so
your
it's very
name
interactive
pops up
and-
and
yeah.
stuff like that. I was thinking of starting a account for NEPA Scene too, and check in all the beers that we have on the show,
That's a cool idea.
as well as the beer reviews that we feature. We're actually going to have some more beer content coming up soon. I can't announce anything with that yet, but some interesting stuff in development. But we're definitely going to be answering your questions and comments, so please be sure to leave them down below. I'm going to check those in a little bit. I got a badge.
Ooh.
Nice. Now, we also want to give a shout out to one of our other sponsors, the Keys in downtown Scranton. I was just there on Friday to see University Drive, Permanence, Black Hole Heart, and Purcell. So thank you to Black Hole Heart for this t-shirt that they didn't make me pay for, which was pretty cool.
So they're local?
Yes.
Send me your music, please.
They're awesome. We're actually going to premiere one of their songs coming up because they
Okay.
had asked me about it. So you'll be hearing new music from them
I like
very
the name.
soon. Yeah, they're really good. They only have like an EP out so far that came out I think last year because we did a piece on it when it came out, and they're really fun guys, really talented. And Purcell, who played the exact same show with the exact same lineup a year ago at the AFA Gallery, they hadn't played since, so they came back and played again, and they were very good too. It was fun to see them. This Thursday is their weekly open mic, which always has their $5 gourmet grilled cheese and vegan options. Friday is an acoustic night with the Crookshanks, Send Request, Stay Loud, and Jacob Waxmansky. That's a name. On Saturday, it's a secret show, so you'll have to tune in later and find out who's playing. So check out the Facebook event for more on that. The only one confirmed so far is an Autumn Sunrise, who we featured on the site before. And the Kirby Center is also a sponsor on our site. And they have Donnie Marie on August 24th, Greta Van Fleet on August 25th, which is sold out, and Il Divo on August 30th. And then they're not going to have shows until about maybe the 23rd in September. So be sure to stop at the Kirby over the next week or so. All right, so now should we talk about Jane? I think it's appropriate that we maybe take a moment of silence. We lost Jane Train today. Janet Raines was a local musician who was in a lot of different bands, most notably M80, that a lot of people knew her from over the years. And she was in an awful accident last month that she was the manager for Adrenaline Mob, and they were parked on the side of the road, way off to the side, because they had a flat tire. And a truck, they still don't know the situation yet, but the truck was not paying attention and somehow veered all the way off the road and then to where they were and hit them. And everybody was injured, but unfortunately took the life of David Z., who was their bassist, was also in Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and very talented guy. And a couple other local people with her who were badly injured as well. And she was in the burn unit for
Couple weeks.
yeah, at least a month or so now, fighting for her life. And unfortunately, she was taken off life support just a few hours ago. So we had just heard about it, and we wanted to take a moment to remember her. All right, thank you for that, and we're going to raise our glass to Jane.
Thank you, Jane.
Thanks, Janet.
Janet. Actually,
Janet.
yeah. I think most of NEPA knows her as
Jane.
Jane,
Right.
but she'll always be Janet to me.
So many people were close to her, and my heart goes out to them.
She was
Her family
involved
and her
with
friends.
so much too. She did so many charity events and benefits and things like that
Yeah.
for people. So it was nice to see all the people that over the last month or so have raised all that money for her. And they over $20,000.
It's like
Wow.
21,000, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So,
One thing about this area is that they really do come together in times when people need it.
Yeah. And I'm not going to be one of those people that said like, "Oh, I knew her really well" or anything like that. When I had first started really in entertainment journalism, I didn't really get the chance to interview her, though I talked to her many times because she always had different projects that she was promoting, and she wasn't always about like, "Oh, interview me." She would always say, "Well, interview the guitarist or somebody else." And I did an interview with she did a group called Headbangers Ball. That played at the Sherman Theater in Stroudsburg a couple of times, and I did an interview with Virus, who was her guitarist in that, who was also the guitarist in Dope, and a side project with David from Disturbed, and really cool guy, and had nothing but nice things to say about her and that sort
She
of
really
thing.
was genuinely one of the sweetest people I've met.
Yeah, absolutely.
I met her when she first started M80. I think it was like 2006. And that band, when I worked at a local paper, we did it was like an 80s prom at Old Time Charlie's, and she was obviously M80 made sense for that. She was always happy to be part of it.
Sure.
And I haven't seen her in about a year. Last time I saw her was at the Breaking Ben show last year at Montage. We were hanging out backstage, and she's always like, "Hey, dude, what's up? Well, what's going on, dude?" Like,
Yeah.
Or,
She's
"Hey,
just cool.
Hey,
Like
Johnny."
no time had passed at all.
Yeah. So it's. I wish I, saw more of her.
The first couple of times I met her, I was kind of intimidated by her
Yeah.
because she kind of has this like very strong presence.
Great. Yeah, it's just such a
And,
personality.
And as just another female in the area to kind of look up to, I was intimidated. I was like, wow, she's very cool and does a lot of cool things. And as soon as I started talking to her for the first time, that all just went away.
Yeah.
She was just so down to earth and awesome and
Yeah.
very sweet.
She always made you feel welcome. She never
Yeah.
acted like that high, and even though she did some great things,
Right.
So
So sad.
yeah.
Everybody knew who she was, especially with that
Right.
hair.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can instantly pick her out. But all right. So with that being said, let's talk about the bear or the bar.
So I always started. I would say the bear.
the
That's what
bear.
I used to say.
That's how I would look at it.
Now it's the berry.
The berry.
So that's how it's being promoted, and I mean
Why?
that's what the director says. I don't know.
Why?
I say Wilkes-Barre.
So do I.
I'm a person that says Wilkes-Barre.
Right.
Wilkes-Barre, yeah.
That's how I always said it too.
But the berry, that's what they stuck with.
It sounds so fruity.
It does sound fruity. The berry, it does. It's like fruit berry. Is this what this is?
Frootwood.
Frootwood.
Yeah. So it's appropriate, right, for the conversation.
So yeah, the berry.
So the director and the writer, do you know if they're from the area? Or they have any experience here?
Terrell, yes. He has ties to the area. Families from this area.
Okay.
From what I understand, he's been back and forth kind of from Brooklyn in this area for parts of his life. The writer is someone Terrell had connected with from New York City. His name's Tetro. He's super talented. Really made the script all come together. So Terrell did a lot of that kind of initial putting the pieces together of the team that's going to kind of initiate the whole progress of everything happening.
Right.
So I think Tetra was probably one of the first people on board, and as soon as I read the script, I was just impressed. You know, something once you see that you know that you want to be a part of.
What was it that that you thought was interesting or good about it to you, that intrigued you as a project?
Well, I was familiar with Charles' work because I had done a small scene as an actress in a short film that he made. I played a boxer's girlfriend.
Okay.
So after I had seen that, I was impressed, you know, with his film work, and mostly impressed by his ambition and his drive to do what he wanted to do and make things happen, because it's not easy.
Right.
But that was one of the initial things that made me want to be a part of it, was just his general vibe of being excited about it. And then when I saw the script, I saw how authentic it was to the area, and I just had a gut feeling that it was going to be something that was powerful, authentic, and interesting to do, and I knew it would be a good experience.
Well, you'd sent me the press kit about it, and they had said that they were influenced by shows like The Wire, and even movies like Straight Outta Compton and things like that. So what kind how did you see maybe some of those influences permeate what was going on
Definitely
in
with
the
like
show?
the grittiness of it. I feel like Wilkes-Barre has a tone to it, especially on an overcast day where you're driving through certain areas and you kind of see the rundown buildings.
Right.
It has a grittiness to it, but also a beauty to it in the same sense. And I kind of felt that was what this was going to replicate. And I think that those shows do something similar.
Yeah, I would say so. Now there's an element to it that right away makes you say, well, does it make the area look bad? You know,
Right.
is there something that because it's a gangster kind of thing. There's drugs and stuff like that. So did that make you initially think about that?
I thought about it because I'm someone that Wilkes-Barre is so near and dear to my heart, and I'm so motivated by bettering the community and being careful about a lot of the decisions I make based on how it's going to affect the world around me. So
Sure.
I knew that other people would feel that way.
Right.
I knew that in this area it's very easy to go right to the negative. For certain people, not for everybody, obviously, but you guys know the drill. You see the comments, and
Sure.
so that was a concern that I had when it came to just the public response.
Right.
Surprisingly, there wasn't that, and if there was, it was very unheard.
Right.
It wasn't very noticed, because there is an element of reality to it when it comes to crime and violence. But the show is also dramatized, for entertainment value. It's
Sure.
a TV show. When I spoke with WBRE last year, they made that an element of the story, but also turned it around in a positive way to kind of showcase that this is an art piece on the area, and this is a group of creative people coming together to tell a story with
Right.
the effort of maybe deterring people from making the wrong choices. I play the heroin addict, and I am a girl just like me, you know, from a nice neighborhood, nice family, nice upbringing, you know, no necessarily traumatic experiences, and how easy it is to fall into this world of making the wrong decisions. And my character kind of shows that, and that the reality that really can happen to anyone, especially when you're young and impressionable. So just the basis on the show, hopefully deterring people to make those choices, but also for entertainment value and just making an art piece and telling someone's story and allowing people to express themselves in a way that's creative and different and visual
Right.
and emotional, and that hits real issues on a very original level. You know, the writing from everyone that's involved, everyone was so open to doing the project. I mean, these actors were coming from New York City sometimes 4 or 5 times a week and working 12-hour days and going back to New York City. You know, they just because they believed in the project, and because they wanted to do the project. And when I saw all of that happening too, it just became so encouraging, you know, and inspiring to see people really believe in something like that.
To be clear, you know, these are this is an independent production.
Right.
This isn't somebody, you know, coming in and dropping all this money
Yeah.
and, you know, these high-paid actors and things like that. Like, this is something that is a passion project.
What I'll say is a lot of the things that we were fortunate enough to do were because of the consideration of others. You know, people were very helpful in the whole process of making this project, whether it came to locations or just, you know, just asking someone to film in their area or their bar or their business or being a part of it, or people were very generous with donating their.
Can you give a few spoilers as far as like what locations? Or
Yeah, I mean, we filmed all over. You were
because I
working.
did see just in the trailer alone, I think I saw there's a gun shop on Pierce Street
Yep.
at the time. It's no
Yep.
longer there. It's kind of
You will recognize. That's what's so cool about the show too, is that it's so relatable to people around here, because you will recognize so many places. Just from the exterior shots, from B-roll, there's beautiful drone footage of Wilkes-Barre that just makes the intro. It's absolutely awesome, and it is just, it's, when I saw that footage for the first time, it gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
it's neat for people to like see something and be like, oh, I know where that is,
Yeah.
or I've been there before.
That's part
Right.
of the excitement. It's
Yeah.
for me, it is.
Yeah.
You know, is seeing the environment that you grew up in on film in a way that's expressed so creatively and original. Barton Irby's, we filmed in there quite a bit. The 44 airport, which was really cool. People's houses. We would have to film in people's houses more than once.
Right.
You know,
So you're probably seeing a
like
few
things like that.
neighborhoods.
Like, people were so gracious to help us in those ways.
Yeah.
You know, you have like a whole crew coming into your home where you live on a, you know, obviously on a day-to-day basis, and like
Right.
just setting up your lights and doing your thing, and everyone was so accommodating to us. So those are the things that really helped us along the way with a lot of stuff, and you know, just people being kind, you know, in that way, businesses and residences.
One of the things that well, you know what, before we go too much further, why don't we show that trailer that we have? It's about 2 minutes and kind of gives you an idea of the look and feel of the show, and then we'll come right back and talk more about it.
It's power. What you hold in your hands is power. This is the means to make whatever you want happen. In this world, there's givers and takers. Now, I don't know what world you living in, but in the real world, where real motherfuckers live, real shit happens. Today is the day that you go from being a little motherfucker to being a big motherfucker and taking what you deserve. Today is the day that you become a man.
I thought you said I wasn't gonna have to kill anybody.
They gave me 3 and change for the hammer. Shit changing, everybody trying to be a scammer. All the real killers either dead or in a slammer. And when shit get real, them niggas dip into Atlanta. Taking free money.
You never have enough paper. Too much paper, ain't enough paper.
It's a fucking nickel and dime strip club. This shit is just a front for a drug hustle, bitch.
Y'all know what this is. Nobody move, nobody get hurt.
Is that how they handle shit in New York? It's some real motherfuckers shit. How many of them real motherfuckers still alive?
Get money, nigga. They should have never showed us how to make a bank card. Taking millions, you be a fool to get the bank wrong. All I need is somebody with a bank job. Money so easy, go broke trying to think hard.
Why we ain't got no big shit? We got big shit.
You might think it's a sin, goddamn this time we living in. They really love to get in. Now it's
All right, so we're back. I hope you enjoyed that. I think it looks really cool. There's also when we post this later online, and there's an article right now on our front page. It's the first article on NEPAscene.com. You can watch another clip from it as well with James Callahan, who was supposed to be our guest tonight. So that's why I was gonna show that clip.
Yeah.
And we're gonna talk about that a little bit. But it's funny because he's such like a nice. Giving guy, and to see him play this badass like tough guy.
Well, he has the
He has that
He
look.
looks I mean
he
he's
should.
got this big beard and tattoos and everything, so he looks like the kind
Shaved
of guy.
head.
We kind of catered after, so we had an actor who was going to play Brian, who ended up having some family emergency the day of shooting, and we had to shoot it that day. Like I said, we had people coming from New York City traveling for that day. Like, these are the scenes that we're shooting this day, and that's it.
Right.
And if you're not going to be here to do it, someone else will. So we had an actor dropped out, and we couldn't just waste the day.
Right.
And this is when we first started filming. So I called James. Charles like, we need a Brian right now. And I was like, got it. I was like, so I'm going through my contacts in my phone, and I see James. I'm like, he'll do it. I was like, I know I can get him to do it. So I called him, and he was like hesitant at first, because he didn't really know anything about it.
Sure.
I'm just like, hey, you need to come here right now and meet this director, and we're doing this show about Wilkes-Barre. It's going to be awesome. Like, just come down here. And he's like, I don't know. I'm kind of just like chilling. And I'm like, no, like, you're going to love it. Like, trust me. So it took some convincing. Not like too much convincing, but, somebody's just like in their day, hanging out, and then you just like call them and are like, oh, here's like a huge thing you have to commit to, and you have to commit to it right now. So it was a little bit of that, but we kind of changed the role a little bit around more of like kind of a biker look.
Mm-hmm.
I think Brian initially was supposed to be kind of more thug.
Okay.
But we kind of turned it into just like this badass biker guy now.
It looks like he walked out of Sons of Anarchy or
something. So that,
you know?
and I think that it added to the quality of the story too, just having that, because that's a reality around here too. We didn't have anybody cast like that, you know, and there's so many of that kind of, I don't want to say stereotype, but that look.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of bikers around here.
Yeah.
There's bike nights all over the place. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean,
so it was, I think it totally added to the whole storyline of the show to have him on board.
Well, I'm sure he'll be happy he did.
He is, I think.
Like in the past year, like when people ask me to do something that I normally wouldn't do, I try and say yes.
Yeah.
Like when you asked me to do this.
Right.
Yeah. Because when my life is like coming to an end, or when I'm old and can't do things, like I want to be able to look back and say, yeah, I did this, I did that. Like if he's saying like no or come up with excuses, like
yeah.
So I'm sure he'll be happy that he answered that phone call.
Yeah.
For you that day.
I'm glad he committed to doing it too. So it worked out.
Was this something that, now, did you want to come on as just an actress, or did you wanted to direct in some form or another?
So I had no intentions of being in the show. So Terrell had approached me. I was bartending at Rodano's actually that summer, and he had come to the bar and said he had this idea, and he wanted to make it work, and he wanted to film it in Wilkes-Barre, and he asked me if I wanted to be the assistant director, and I said, sure, and without any really hesitation, any kind of opportunity that any opportunity that really comes my way that is especially different and going to be a learning experience, I usually would jump right on board. So after that, we did casting with Tetra, the writer, and Isaac, the sadist, who's a producer, and we tried to fill these roles, and we couldn't find anybody for the role of Lydia. So I had said, well, if worst comes to worst, we can't find anybody, I'll do it. But if we can find somebody that works better than me, we'll go with that. So it just ended up that I ended up doing that role because it just was the one role we really couldn't fit. Lydia was kind of supposed to be maybe, according to the writer, just more of like a tattooed type girl, kind of like a rock and roll girl, which I definitely don't have that look or that vibe, I guess. So it more so became just kind of a normal, plain Jane, like me.
Well, I
wouldn't say normal, but
Plain Jane,
yeah.
heroin addict.
Yeah. So, but I mean, look-wise,
Yeah.
not. I'm definitely crazy, not normal, but look-wise, more of
Not
kind of
the-
look.
not
I
the-
always did get casted as like the not rebel girl. I was in an anti-drug commercial when I was 16, and I played the girl that was like saying no to drugs, and then there was like the rebel girl next to me on the couch.
So this is all your fault.
Yeah.
Legalize weed, damn it.
I was in an anti-drug commercial, and then I played a heroin addict later
Just
in
say
life.
no.
Which is interesting. I guess I just realized. I just put that
Were you frying
together.
eggs on the
Right.
pan?
No, it was similar though.
Yeah.
It was similar. My big line was, and this was a national commercial. This was my first national spot, and my big line was the cool girl. We were like in a basement, and she was offering me a joint, and she's like, "Oh, come on, your parents don't have to know everything." And my big line was, "Actually, they do."
Can we find this?
I tried to look it. I have it on VHS.
Whoa, that's it.
And I tried to find it online.
Shut down.
I have like the so it was an ad campaign, so it was in the magazine, so I have the print work of it. But I tried to find it online and I couldn't find it. Matt Wren, who's an old friend of mine from high school, stole a copy of it. Him and Pete Walski were in my basement.
Doing drugs?
No, we were like hiding from my dad because
Doing drugs?
my dad was like trying to kick everyone out of my house, I guess. Cause
For
I was
doing
like,
drugs?
Yeah, probably. Doing like smoking weed or something. But they took some recitals and definitely one copy of my anti-drug commercial because they thought it was hilarious. And it is.
You were 16?
I was 15 when I did that.
How did that happen? Like, how do you...
Get into doing that?
Yeah.
I had an agency, so I had a contract with CED. They're now called CESD on Park Avenue South in Manhattan. So I did work with MTV Networks and did some promos for Noggin and Nickelodeon and just some stuff like that. I did a lot of print work, catalog work, book covers, hair stuff. My little sister, her and I did it together. She's 10 years younger than me. She's 19 now. So she did a lot of work too. So my mom would take us to New York, or we had this driver, this guy named Victor, this big guy who my parents had hired to take us to New York, and I of course thought it was like so cool that I was leaving school to the day, and I would like lie to him and be like, "Oh no, my parents totally let me just kind of walk around New York City and like do my thing after my audition." There'd be times where I was in New York just for 15 minutes,
Right.
and I would go down and go back to school, at Myers. So it was definitely interesting. Teenage years, but it was really cool.
Well, I was in Sex and the City. I don't know if you guys knew that or not.
I auditioned.
Oh.
I was in Sex and the
Who
City.
did you play?
I was a background extra,
That's
Yeah.
fun.
not credited.
Did you see anybody?
Oh yeah, I saw
That was my favorite show.
Sarah Jessica Parker. My mom was in Super Troopers.
That's awesome.
You can
Now
see
that's
her.
a badge of honor right
You can
there.
see her very visibly. She's a cocktail waitress.
That's so cool. That is a badge of honor.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and my friend's dad was in that, and my friend's sister was in that as well. Again, background extras. It's just
Sure, there are always going to be. That was one thing I saw today. Not to go back on it, but Jane. I was looking for a picture of Jane to use for a quote that we put up, and Jane was in the background of an episode of Gotham a couple months ago.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And she was like she was somebody who was being arrested by the police and taken into the station while Jim Gordon is walking out the door. It was kind of funny. It was just she had so many crazy connections and knew so many people that she would just get all these crazy opportunities.
Yeah. She worked with Puddle of Mud at one point.
Yeah.
She was,
Like
she was
I don't know
fun,
how
man.
she ever met these people, but she was able to.
When you're as personable and talented as her, it just kind of happens.
Just happens to you, yeah.
Right. Well, this role
Good call.
in particular.
I know. I'm
Yeah, you
throwing
got
it here.
catch
I'm
up
getting there.
here.
I'm getting there.
Did you take inspiration from anybody that you knew or anything like that?
So I had never played a heroin addict before, and I had never really been around one in a sense where I was always kind of naive to that stuff, which I started to realize. If somebody was kind of like all effed up on something, I would be the last to really notice. So I was super naive to that initially. So I ended up watching a lot of intervention. And HBO actually has this really heartbreaking documentary about a couple individuals who were doing a story similar to intervention.
Yeah.
And doing interviews. And I watched that actually a few times. And I kind of tried to emulate their frustration and their behavior. And I just tried to, I wanted it to be realistic,
Authentic.
Authentic. And I know I keep using that word, but I didn't want to, I wanted to do it in a way that if somebody knew somebody that was in that situation or was struggling with addiction, that they would be like, wow, that's really what it's like. So the show, I am not cute and at all. It becomes really sad.
Yeah.
And really desperate. And the beginning of the show, I'm not, just going to college, I'm doing my thing. And as the story progresses, naturally, you deteriorate.
Right.
So I thought it was important to give that the right amount of reality when it came to showing what someone might go through and what their family goes through, because there's a bit of that too. Another actor plays my brother. His name is Logan Roberts. He was super cool to work with. Total babe, very talented. And it's interesting because we filmed Our House Was My House, that my dad still lives in today, in South Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah.
So it's just like stuff like that. And I have a scandalous scene in the first episode. I'm just going to put that out there. And
which you can see tomorrow.
If you come to the premiere. Which I was really nervous about, but everyone is so cool to work with and just super pro at everything. So it was not nearly as uncomfortable as I thought it would be when I read the script. And so the scene that I have the scandalous moment is the park where I had my first kiss, which is like so funny how all these things I got to kind of play a role in these places that I grew up in. So it was cool.
Probably added a personal feel to it.
It did. It definitely did. I loved that part about it. I loved being able to, I was like be filming and we'd be on set and I'd like see someone be like, oh, hey Barb, how you doing? Like we'd be like in the middle of doing it because we'd be in my neighborhood or, at somebody's house that I knew or, so it was very obviously close to home for me,
Hey, what are you doing? Oh, heroin. Yeah. No, that's just, it's a fake thing.
I remember, we were shooting
this
down.
guy.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, nothing. That's fun. That's half the fun.
Right. Yeah, be stepping outside who you are, and
in a
putting
place that's so
yourself in
familiar.
someone else's.
Yeah, in a place that's so familiar. So everything was very comfortable for me. It had been a long time since I had been on camera as an actress. I did like a couple of things over the years. I did some commercials and that short film, but other than that, not much at all. Not anything regularly that I would be like, oh, I'm totally in the hang of this,
Right.
But it was very cool.
I want to. We'll take a minute and answer some of the questions and comments that we.
Well, while you
have
do
here.
that, I'm gonna have a
Yeah, let's try this.
Founders Lizard of Cause. That's what I do.
This Lizard of Cause.
Someone said mentioning
Founders.
see it shows there's always opportunities. Rudy Rudis says see it shows there's always opportunities, which is true.
Yeah.
There's always opportunities in this area, and that's another thing I wanted to mention. I don't know if I just cut you guys off totally or what, but I felt very fortunate that I was able to do things like this in this area,
Right.
which isn't something that you would necessarily think being in Wilkes-Barre, like, oh, I'm going to be able to work on a set every day, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you
be
would
able
think
to
you'd
be
at
an
least have
actress
to go to
today.
New York or Philly or
Right.
somebody, a major city.
Yeah, so that was a very, very, very cool aspect of it, is that, there are opportunities for you if you put yourself in the position to be open to them. And you could do it here. Obviously it's not going to be as dense as New York
Right.
City, but it is...
That goes back to saying, like, when someone asks you to do something, you say yes. Because you never know.
yeah.
Right.
You never know. Like, this might blow up or just be a stepping stone to something.
Right. The
to
way...
next,
The one thing that I always say is opportunities only lead to more opportunities. The more things you do, the more things you are going to do. And the more that you open yourself up to, the more you will learn, and the more people you'll meet, and the more experiences you'll have, and the more influences you will have. And it's just nothing necessarily very terrible can come from it, putting yourself out there and being open to doing things and believing in other people's ideas.
I mean, the worst thing that could possibly happen is you find out that maybe it's not for you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not for you.
Okay.
I was going to say, the worst that can happen is it wasn't for you.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
What's-
So
what is the
I
worst
tried
thing?
that,
Yeah.
and I'll try something else next time.
Right.
Which, in this case, you ended up really enjoying yourself, it seems.
I did. It was a great experience. It was a very interesting time for me, too. It was just interesting, the whole thing. It was great, though. It was a difficult time for me when we started filming. We started filming the same week that my mom died.
Oh, jeez.
So that was, intense. I remember saying to Terrell, I don't know if I can do this right now. This is the craziest thing
Right.
I've ever been through, the most horrific thing I had ever been through. And then you just have all this pressure to it. But I at that time, it was, a lot. But it helped, I think, to be a part of something new and to meet new people and to be in a different environment.
Take
and,
your mind away
and-
from that
right.
a little bit. But I'm sure that, obviously she was put a big role in your life to where
Right.
you are today, even, and
oh my gosh, yeah.
that was probably a lot of motivation for you to just,
Right.
She would have
maybe-
been all about that.
yeah.
She would have been all... Well, she was the one that got us into... Me and my sister into acting. And
Right.
into doing on-camera stuff. That's... And she was not, the stage mom type. Of course, she loved it. She loved going to New York City, and we would go shopping, and we'd have to, sneak all these bags into my house, hide them from my dad, and, it was just, this big fun thing, these day trips. But she was never, she would always be well, when you don't want to do it, we won't do it. When it's not fun, we're not going to do it.
Right.
So it was that week that we started filming, and it was just kind of full circle because my mom's the reason that I did on-camera stuff and that I would even be associated with cameras,
Right.
let alone grow up to be a photographer or, an assistant director for something. Or it's just interesting how things kind of always come together in ways that
You don't know.
matter.
Everything happens for a reason.
I never mentioned that, though, when I talk about it, but I just felt like it was kind of
Yeah.
relative to everything,
No, it's
sure.
definitely. It's an interesting way to get through that time in your life.
Yeah, it was definitely very different. I had never been through anything like that before, obviously,
Sure.
So to kind of have something very challenging creatively happening and demanding creatively at the same time, I think it helped.
That's good.
Yeah.
This Founders Lizard of Cause is also good. You can definitely taste the higher.
Is that?
I don't know why I can't finish
ABV.
this.
Is that your transition there? Is that the best you can come up with?
That's all I got.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
I'm not a pro. I will never admit to being one.
This has fresh Michigan blueberries, rich chocolate, and it's vanilla aged.
That sounds amazing.
In bourbon
I
barrels.
taste the chocolate. I taste the bourbon.
Yeah.
Aged, yeah.
And
for
you know
sure.
the
My
blueberry I
favorite
think
things are
is there.
blueberries, chocolate, and bourbon.
Yeah.
You better get to getting.
I'm getting there.
What are you waiting for? We came here on a mission,
I know.
and you are failing
I
right now.
know.
Right?
I'm
And
getting
we're
there.
here. We're here to be at least buzzed by the end of this.
Yeah.
If not completely wasted, because we're professionals.
Aw. People are saying the sweetest things on
I
here.
don't drink.
I'm gonna like them all.
10.5. Jesus Christ.
So Maura had asked this before, and it's something we'll address again by the end. But she asked where you can watch it. Now tomorrow is the premiere of the first episode, which is about an hour long or so.
Yep.
At the River Street Jazz Cafe, starting at 8 p.m. So that'll run to about 9, and then afterwards we're going to have an after party. But they're still working on distribution for
Right.
this.
I haven't been a part of that process of the meetings they've had, and I know they've had some pretty significant meetings with some really powerful networks, and I haven't been a part of that process. I've kind of been this whole past year of him editing and getting the show ready.
Right.
I know that they were in New York for some time and talking about that stuff, but I really don't know. I don't know what's next for them.
Well, there's so
moving
many.
forward.
There's so many options now. You have Netflix, you have Hulu,
Right.
You have Amazon. There's so many streaming services that are coming out. YouTube has their own thing now too. Plus, all the actual networks, all the big networks that you think that would think of for general shows and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
mean, this place could find a home in a lot of different areas.
Right.
And it has that feel to it.
We had this fantasy land idea, which isn't a fantasy land because there was some reality to talking about this with people that were in the position to facilitate it. Because since HBO has some ties to here
Yeah.
in Wilkes-Barre.
That's true. That's a good point.
What is that?
It was the first time that they had kind of tested out.
The woman who was the CEO for the longest time, and I wish I could remember her name off the top of my head, but I'm really bad with that kind of thing. I'm sure I could look it up quick. She was from here.
Okay.
Was from Wilkes-Barre area, I believe, if not
shit.
Wilkes-Barre. And
I didn't know
yeah.
That's
She
why
was
I
one of
thought
the
that there'd be
main
some
people
interest there.
behind like the whole founding of HBO. Like HBO essentially started here, and there's a plaque somewhere in the city.
There is. It's on the square.
Yes, it's on
right
the square.
by where the bandstand is.
That says that HBO had started here and gives a couple sentences on the history of it. But yeah, it's interesting that people most people don't know that and
Yeah, so we learned
you would never
that.
think.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that it could. I mean, that could potentially come full circle in a way.
That's what that was something that I had popped into my head. I was like, wow,
That'd be really neat.
that would be very neat.
Yeah.
And if no one tried it, you never know.
Right.
You gotta do it.
So a lot of people are saying that the show looks really good. They're really happy to see it. They're excited about it, and I'm sure you've been getting that a lot in terms
Yeah,
of
people have been so receptive to the whole idea of the show and supportive. Thankfully.
And to answer Mara's other question, it was filmed in Wilkes-Barre. It's not just based in Wilkes-Barre.
Right.
It
I said,
was
you
filmed
will
here.
recognize almost. You're not going to recognize the inside of people's houses you've never been to, obviously.
Right.
But you will recognize so much of the city and the exterior and the B-roll and the businesses and the bars that we're in. Bones Bar, I didn't mention that.
Mm.
There's some filming there. And
you were inside
Bones
of
Bar and Irby's.
Susquehanna
Oh, Susquehanna Tavern.
It's no longer.
Yeah, we filmed there. 44th Airport, that was the coolest one. Not that those bars are great. Not that they're not cool, but it was cool to be there and filming.
Amber says, "Love the shout out for Myers class
Yeah.
of 2007 here."
Myers Mohawks.
Jesus.
Yep.
2007.
I'm 06.
Caution says that having the driver was cooler than being the model.
It was very cool, and because I would manipulate him and tell him that I could just.
How dare you?
I would. I'd be like, my mom totally lets me just
How dare you?
go to 34th Street and shop for a little bit, and he's like, okay, whatever you say, and I'm like, I would just be like doing my own thing.
Yeah, let's contact Victor. Let's find
Yeah,
him.
Victor was his name.
Let's find
He was
him.
my uncle's limo driver that my parents had hired to drive our Durango to New York City for me when they were working. And I was
So you didn't take a limo, you took a Durango?
We didn't take a limo. Like, he was a limo driver. That was his profession for my uncle. And,
That's even cooler.
yeah, but he did not, he didn't drive me in a limo. He drove a Dodge Durango.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, Victor
That's
was
great.
his name.
Let's find Victor.
He didn't...
Victor, if you're out there, if you're watching,
you
contact us. I don't know how you're gonna do it, but
long lost Victor.
if you're on the internet, then you can just comment, whatever.
I would literally just tell him, I was like, no, it's totally fine. My parents let me do it all the time. And I'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm walking in New York City right now by myself. Like, I would be like...
Now, when the show was first announced, there were definitely a lot of people that were excited about it. There were
was
some
so
people
much
that were
buzz.
I
Yeah.
mean,
But
especially
again,
over the last
you
year.
have that negative...
Yeah, and you have those other people. We touched on that a little bit, but what I wanted to mention about that was from a creative standpoint, I think people are missing what you were saying about it, that it's a setting to tell a fictional story, and it's not necessarily
Right.
saying that Wilkes-Barre is this
It's not a
way or
documentary.
should be this way or anything like
Right.
that.
It's not glamorizing violence. It's not glorifying criminals.
Right, and
Uh,
that's I think something that you want that you want to stress is that it's
Right.
not something that says this is a lifestyle you want to elevate yourself to.
Right,
you
like
know,
I said,
that
with-
it's something that
At least in my approach was to kind of, deter people from making life-altering decisions. I mean, devastating decisions, really.
well, I look at a movie like Scarface, for example, where it's a great film. It's not just a gangster movie. It's not it's not cheesy. It's really a great, well acted, well produced film, and it's interesting how different people look at that movie now. You have all these like gangster rappers and things like that look up to Scarface, that they dress like him on their album
Right, they
covers.
glamorize
They
it.
they
what
emulate
we
him
do
in
as a
videos
society.
and things like that. And to me it's so fun, like it's comical because it's like you did watch the movie, right? Like you watched it to the end of the movie
Yeah.
where he gets riddled with bullets. Like,
Sucker.
yeah.
Is that what can we get
do
back into
the doing the impressions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, man, a sucker. Look at a pelican fly, pelican fly.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what?
it's pretty good.
Her womb is so
pretty good.
polluted.
You,
All right.
you deserve this Founders Backwoods Bastard. For that fucking
Oh, yeah, there you go.
awesome impression.
Yeah, I sometimes I could do impressions only of guys, which is really, really
It's
weird.
even better.
And the only girl impressions I can do are like impressions of actors doing impressions of women, which I don't know.
Well,
if that
that's the other
counts.
thing too. Is like everything ends badly for him in that movie.
Yeah,
it's
why-
not just that he gets shot at the end. It's that like he gets what he wants and then he realizes that it's terrible. That he's rich now, but he's miserable.
Right.
He gets the woman that he wants. He killed for her, and she hates him, and they can't stand each other.
Right.
Like everything falls
Give her a
apart for
Quaalude,
this
shit on me
guy
in the morning.
until he's absolutely like at the.
It's terrible.
Yeah, and
it's
then-
not something to look up to.
Then he snorts a bunch of coke and gets shot up.
Yeah.
You know, like he loses everything.
Spoiler alert.
Right. So yeah, for a movie that came out in the 70s,
Spoiler alert.
80s maybe.
I
80s.
prefer Carlito's Way.
Yeah, also a great film.
Came
But
out in 1991.
a lot of the same themes that you see in a
Don't know
lot
why I
of
know
these
that.
movies. You know, Goodfellas and all those. It's not something
Yeah.
that you want to.
But people, our society does have a tendency
We glorify it a little
to
bit.
glorify crime, especially when the criminal has some sense of decency and moral compass, but it is also extremely cutthroat. There's something about that we just respect, I guess, as a society.
Sure.
So I think that there's
Yeah, it's cool to emulate that kind of thing, but you don't
Right.
want to live like that. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like it may seem cool to like like I mean I'm a comic book guy, so I love the Punisher. You know,
Nerd.
Like, yeah. total nerd.
Nerd.
But I've got Punisher shirts and stuff like that too, and it's cool. It looks cool. It's fun. But when you think about it, it's like this is a terribly tragic character who's going through something horrible,
Right.
and I would never want to actually be
Right.
be in that
That's the
situation.
reality.
Or that's
Well,
yeah, exactly.
the
It's not
reality
the
of it.
message of it is not saying like, oh, this is a good thing that you want you want to strive for. But
There's some soy sauce, kind of.
How's that?
Stay strong.
That's not a good.
so, yeah, I was gonna say like that doesn't sound great. Now that's the last one, right? That's Backwoods
that's
Bastard,
The
or is that Fruit?
Backwoods Bastard.
Okay.
She didn't have the.
I think I have to
Yeah, you didn't have the other one yet.
I dumped it on Gerard.
Oh,
drink the whole thing.
that one.
See you later,
Well,
Gerard.
no.
See you never.
We have it, but it was getting warm, so I was like, all right, well, Gerard needs something to
Yeah.
drink. We're a little over time, but
That's
that's okay.
one's-
Maybe he'll love us more.
Smoky, malty,
Which one?
earthy, Backwoods Bastard.
That's the one that Brittany has. We have the
Wait, which one do I have?
Backwoods
You have that
Bastard.
one.
You have a different one?
We do.
Yes.
You were slacking. You were,
I was
Exactly.
slacking.
you
I'm
were
so
slowing
sorry.
down, and you were,
I'm sorry.
you were holding up the whole process.
Just
I-
going
Here,
on
you
and
want
on
to try
about
the
myself.
Lizard of Cons? This is the
yeah,
other
that
one.
was it.
I just get so distracted.
Yeah. You're a cat.
This is the chocolate blueberry bourbon.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
I
See
fucked
that?
up.
That's all right.
I fucked
That's
up.
see.
I
You would like
to
that.
be honest, I don't really do like the real dark beers.
These are both dark.
But that
They
one.
are.
that
I
one's
mean,
good.
they're both very good. My preference. I like IPAs.
Really?
I love them.
What?
I do.
I've never heard of any girl said it like IPAs.
Yeah, I don't do, but I'll drink a Guinness.
Just
You
wanna
know,
chew on hops. Like,
I love the IPAs.
Here's a good question from Rudy. What do you hope people get out of this?
I hope that
When
people
they-
are entertained by it. Obviously, I hope that the people that worked so hard on making it happen feel a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
But I guess that's not what she asked. I hope people enjoy it. Really. I hope they take it for what it is, as an art piece, as a story. Just like any other show. And I hope that they think it's cool and great and interesting. And
The production value is phenomenal. Just
Right.
looking at the footage that we've seen so far, it seems like they really went. It's very professional. It's not
It
what
is.
people would expect from a
Just some-
small indie production.
right, I think people will be impressed really by how well it's put together and how well it's written and what a great job the actors did and just how well it came together. Terrell's really talented and he's very driven, and Tetro, who wrote the storyline, is very talented and very driven, and all the actors that are a part of it. I mean, this is what they do. They take so much time and energy to perfect their craft, and I just hope people see that, and I hope people see the value that's really in it blew my mind to just see how much goes into making something like this and putting it together and then seeing it to visualize it,
Right.
and how much work it is,
Yeah.
because it was a lot. It was a lot of days and a lot of filming. And Terrell, I can't even imagine. He didn't send this out to an editing house. He did all this work, and it's really crazy to kind of see that all come to life. So I hope people kind of see that this was something that people really believed in and enjoyed doing it, and the connection that the whole cast had was really cool. Hope people see that too, kind of somehow that transpires through watching the show.
Yeah, I think if anybody has good chemistry, it usually comes through.
Yeah.
You'll see that in the
Everyone
characters.
was so much fun and so cool to work with and funny. It's like you're hanging out 1 minute, just like cracking up and like being silly and goofy, and then just like being like really serious, and I'm like, So it's like
Hey, no spoilers. We don't want to know what happens.
no spoilers.
give us your best like pose, your best heroin pose. Like getting it. That's just sleeping.
That's my best.
That's-
No, if that's doing heroin.
That's a big part of it.
Yeah.
The one thing that I tried to kind of perfect is they get so very frustrated
Yeah.
when they are feeling like they're about to get sick or like they're like just this.
My wife and I watch Intervention all the time.
Yeah, that frustration.
It's intense.
It is intense. It is. Did I answer your question?
You did.
It's these beers.
Well,
You had
not
like
mine.
one. You had a beer.
I had a drink with my aunt at Franklin's before this also.
Oh, so you cheated.
I did.
Oh,
So you came in raging.
I
and,
came in blacked out.
And you came in sleeping.
Just kidding.
Nikki Lynn says that she hopes for the best and she thinks it's going to be a big hit. So I think it,
Thank
I think
you.
it is too.
I hope so too.
We do want to give away those tickets before we end tonight. So who wants to go to see I Love the 90s at the Pavilion at Montage Mountain this Saturday? If you want to, let us know in the comments right now, and we'll give those away to you. It's a pair of tickets, so it's not just one. You don't have to buy an extra if you want to go with a friend. And let's see, we have a few people that want to go.
How many do you have? 2?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Yeah, as long as you're
Oh my
free
gosh.
on Saturday, don't take those tickets away from somebody else who if you can't go.
Don't fuck this up.
Yeah, right.
Fuck it
Well, Nikki, you commented throughout the show. You watched most of it, so you are a winner, Nikki.
Congrats,
Nikki
Nikki.
Lynn. We will leave tickets for you at the box office under your name. So just give them your name, and you will go. And then we have one more. We could pick one more to go. We also, if you don't win tonight. If you scroll down just a little bit on NEPA Scene's Facebook feed, there is another way to enter as well. There's a poster for the event, and we're giving away 2 more pairs of tickets that way. So if you don't win tonight, that's okay. You still have a chance. As long as you like, comment, and share on that poster, you'll be entered to win as well. We're going to announce those winners tomorrow. Let's see.
Who wants to come to the Berry premiere? I'll put you on the guest list. We'll pick someone else for
there you
that
go.
too.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so if you can you go tomorrow? If anybody wants to go to River Street Jazz Cafe tomorrow at 8 p.m.,
I can't.
we'll give one of those away as well.
I can't.
But you have to specify what
That
you're
wasn't a high five. That was a...
what you want to go to, and
Brian.
let's see.
That's okay. I'll send it to you.
No, I have a flying fish work event. I have to go to tomorrow.
You guys pick somebody.
I'm trying.
I already
I
picked
can't see
someone.
all the names. I have like a. Is there a gym in there? There's a gym. Give it to Jim.
There's no gym.
Fucking Jim. Is there a John?
Everyone stopped commenting. No one
Match
wants
my
to come
name.
to the premiere.
Chanice, is that how you say your name? Chanice McCloy? Is that
don't
how
see
you
that.
say her name?
Yeah.
Jonathan, you want tickets to the premiere? Or are you still doing the...
Chanice, am I saying that right? We'll give them to you as well.
Yeah, she says me, please.
Okay. So you were the second winner tonight, and if you didn't win, make sure that you go to that poster and like and share, because we're going to announce those winners tomorrow. So if you haven't done that yet, you have another chance to win as well. Shanice, same thing. If you go to the box office, we'll put them under your name. You'll have 2 tickets waiting for you at the box office. So and who wants to go to the Bear?
I do.
You
I
pick
can't,
that one.
though.
I was Jonathan Edwards. I'll put you on the guest list for the premiere tomorrow.
All right.
You just won.
All right, Jonathan Edwards.
That easy.
You are going. Awesome. All right.
He demanded those.
He did.
Said he interrupted
I
Gerard
deserve those
switching.
tickets. There you go. Demanded you shall receive.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We had a blast, and we blew through this episode pretty quick. You know,
I thought I was.
Didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought, we're gonna have all this extra time because James couldn't make it, but
Just have me talk about myself for about 25, 35 minutes, and then we're good.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, we do this every Wednesday right here on Facebook, 7 to 8 p.m. And then the episode is available right after that. So if you missed the live stream, you can still watch it on Facebook right after that. And then on Fridays, we post the audio and video versions on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. So you can always catch the episodes in different ways. You can catch up on old episodes. We have over 20 episodes already in the bag, so if you want to check anything out we've done in the past. So please tune in next week, and we'll see you then.
See you guys.